Lightning like Steve Queen, I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit, cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly, better brace yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder, and I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines, and most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice-a-week long-form podcast, because I only talk to the individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take all that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It's one of the many, many reasons why I proudly fly that American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. It is Friday in the house. Let's go. Tracy St. Clair, good morning, watching over on YouTube. Yeah, it's Friday, you guys, and that means it is our Q&A day today. So as always, if you guys have any sales or operations related questions for the transportation industry, drop them in the chat. I will answer them live on the show for you guys. And we will get down to that here in a little bit. I got some questions that came through, and I will start in with them. And yeah, we will get into that here shortly. Also, let me see here. Stephen Tittle, appreciate that, man. He says, good morning. He says it's Q&A day. He says, you got questions. Chris has the answers, but we want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Oh, that's funny, man. That oh, that's great. Yeah, so like Steven said, drop them in the chat. You guys, I'll answer them live. Let me see here. Diesel fuel, we are at $3.86 a gallon nationwide out there, you guys. $3.86 a gallon nationwide. I get this information from the EIA. EIA.gov is where you get that, and it's great for, to help you quote freight, right? At the end of the day. You need to know where fuel is at, where fuel is trending, and how things are going out there in the market. And it's a great thing for you to help out and stay on top of those rates. Let me see here. Uma, good morning. Let's finish this week strong, she says. Micah Campo, happy Friday. Thank you for tuning in, as always, Micah. And yeah, Micah, I saw your post yesterday. It's stuff like this. It's crazy to me that, so just a little backstory, Micah put a post out there. If you guys want to read it all in depth, go over to her page and check it out. But essentially, they only got paid a layover for $750 for a few days for a crane that isn't going to be there. And that is wild. And I'm glad that my friend Chandler McGann came and posted what you would do in that instance, or what he would do in that instance about organizing a brand new crane to come in and offload that freight out there. But go in there and read Micah's post, you guys, because there's a lot of what not to do as a broker in there. And, and especially because, when you're dealing with specialized freight, for example, because again, like I move open deck, I move heavy haul, I move over dimensional. I've been doing this for a very long time. And what goes on out there is, you can't just quote this stuff up. Okay. You can't just like go out there. You can't quote it. You can't just like think that you're going to find trucks for this stuff when it comes down to the specialized equipment, because like this is the stuff that really hoses people over. And again, I don't know all the details out there of what exactly happened in Micah's situation. But I do know in my situation, always finding an alternative is crucial in the event that I'm the one who's organizing the crane. I've done that numerous times out there. And you organize the backup crane. Chandler said it best out there, you guys. He put the best solution. And that's what I would advise all of you to do. Okay. If you are in this industry and you are, dealing with anything, right? Because layovers for drivers are costly. All right. It costs a lot of money for a truck just to sit there for whatever reason. So, Micah's example, find a backup crane. Go out there, do whatever you got to do to get a backup crane out there in a reasonable amount of time. If you have a load rejected, for example, or if you have something that's going on, find a backup facility to go and deliver this load to or these shipments to you guys. There is a solution for a lot of these situations. It's just, what are you willing to do? And I truly think that a lot of people might not know, right? They might not know that there's an alternative for you to go out there and find an alternative facility or find a backup option or whatever that looks like. But don't just take some of this stuff at face value, especially if we're talking 2 or 3 day layovers and stuff like that, because things are going to happen, you guys. And that's a good tip for you as a broker. If you're out there and you're delivering into, because like I did a lot of food, and I know this isn't exactly Micah's example anymore, but I did a lot of food loads for a very long time. And there was a notorious grocery retail distribution center who shall remain anonymous that loved rejecting loads due to load shifting, even when they didn't technically shift. But it happened enough times where we made relationships with rework facilities in that specific area in Miami. And we made it happen, right? And then we took that a step further where we started going to all of those areas that we would deliver into consistently. And we would find rework facilities. We would start relationships with them and just have that in our back pocket in the event that something happens. So we knew what we could do in the event that a load was rejected, or if there was an issue with it, or if it needed to be disposed of. Have those facilities in your high volume areas, you guys, and go through with that, right? Because things are going to happen, but nobody needs to sit there for a couple of days. Sydney Thiessen, good morning to you. Jeff Dickinson, morning. Let's end the week on a great note. What you got? We've got a lot. Cody Kaler, did I read the JB Hunt Q4 earnings? How do you think Q1 is going to shake out once this weather clears up? I did not read the Q4 earnings from JB Hunt. I'll probably break that down on Monday's show. I did see a breaking news, though, that the FMCSA's the head of the FMCSA is Robin Hutchison is resigning from her post at the end of this month, which I think might be a positive step. I don't know. I personally think that the FMCSA needs to do a hell of a lot more to protect the industry that they're supposed to be overseeing. And I'm not blaming Robin in particular for this. I want to be abundantly clear, but we need to get somebody in there who's going to actually make change for this industry for the better. And it would be great to see them put that in place because, at the end of the day, fraud is something that is running rampant. And I think that needs to be done. Now, how do I think Q1 is going to shake out once this weather clears up? Cody, I was saying this on yesterday's show, brother. I wouldn't be surprised if this weather event that hit us last week might be the catalyst that shifts this market and holds this market in where it's going to start to flip. Do I think it's really going to happen? Possibly. But I don't think it probably would, but this could keep people holding out for higher money. But I think that outside of weather events and stuff that normally shake up capacity, I think that Q1 is going to go back down to a normal freight market. I think freight volumes are going to be down comparatively speaking because they normally are. And I think capacity is going to free up out there. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if this weather event from this last week people are going to hold out as long as they can for additional money. Josh Breeze, what up? Morning from Freight Valley. They are the ones who coined it, you guys. Some of these other cities out here in the United States want to claim that they're the transportation capital of North America, but anybody who lives in Phoenix knows that Arizona is the transportation capital. Freight Valley, coined by my friends over at Freight Vana. Let me see here. Robert D. Domenico. Have you ever analyzed freight in terms of dollars per tons, including last mile distribution and delivery? Robert, the only time I've ever been asked to do that was quoting out freight in firm scrap and some produce as well in hundredweight. and stuff like that. And it would be more, and that's how it would pay out there. I didn't do anything with that long term or do that extensively. I think paying by the ton for last mile distribution and delivery, I don't know enough on that to see if that would be a viable thing if you're asking if you could offer to quote that from a pricing perspective. So I've done it in other areas. I just don't have a ton of knowledge on it for last mile distribution and delivery. Corey Buchan, TGIF, watching over on YouTube. Kat Siegel, what is up? Good morning from icy Oregon. Kat, I had a truck delivering in Oregon this week who literally had to wait a couple of days out there to get offloaded because of the ice up in Oregon. So hopefully you're staying safe out there. Bill McIntyre, good morning, everyone. He's watching over on YouTube. Robert says long haul truckload revenues, 30 to 40 cents per ton mile. Parcel rates equals thousands per ton mile. Trey Lincoln, good morning to you on YouTube. Jonathan Mulligan, good morning. And he says, appreciate the info. And let me see here. Chandler, what is up? Texas is the capital of greatness. I'm going to be honest, man. Texas is one of my favorite states to be a part of because, you know, they believe in America and stuff out there, which I also believe in. All right, you guys, let's get in. So as always, you guys, every single Friday is Q&A day. So if you have any sales or operations related questions for the industry, drop them in the chat. I will answer them live on this show for you. But this one came up last week. Excuse me. And I wanted to bring it up again today. And it was, how do I vet carriers, or as a carrier, how do I vet my brokers to properly minimize the risk of scam? I'm going to give an example of both on how you can vet your carrier partners and how you can vet your broker partners. I'm going to start with carriers, what carriers can do out there to vet their providers. I think it goes a little bit deeper. Like obviously run their information, right? If you have a factoring company, shout out Denim. If you're looking for a factoring company out there, Denim is the preferred financial partner of the Freight Coach. But if you're working with a factoring company and you're looking to see, is a person legit? And this is coming from a carrier's perspective. I would always call my factoring company to see if they can run any information out there. And vet if they're legit, right? What do their days to pay look like? What's their credit rating look like? And some of that stuff is out there on the load board, right? Like DAT or Truck Stop has that information out there in starting with there. But again, how do you verify that this is an actual shipment? How do you verify that this is an actual company? And especially if you're in the cab of the truck, and you might not have access to your laptop and everything else, and you might not know where to start. I would always call the people who are financially invested in that shipment. That's why I said a factoring company, and have them vet this broker. I think that I would hope that the factoring companies out there would be more than happy to help in that instance. And then furthermore, if you're looking to see like what questions can you ask, because this is another one too. Brokers are notorious for posting loads and they don't like actually have the freight, or they don't actually have the idea on what a load's going to pay. Because from a broker's perspective here, there is times where customers reach out to us to find a same day spot market rate, right? Like, hey, I need a truck here within the hour, post it out there and see what you can get for me. There's that. And then there's also fishing, things where they're just fishing. They don't actually have any freight. They're trying to, they're wasting your time, right? When I'm out there actively looking for a spot market opportunity, me and anybody in my organization will let you know that it is a spot market opportunity, that we do not have the load. We are looking to put a bid in there on behalf of our customer. All right. And then furthermore, if we don't win the load for whatever reason, we're going to call you and let you know that, hey, the customer ended up not moving it today, or we lost out on the bid, whatever that looks like. You're going to know at that, from that perspective. Another thing too, if the brokers are vague on their load details, right? If they can't tell you, shipping hours, receiving hours, commodities, weights, stuff like that, I think that's a big problem. I think that it is one of those situations where again, you guys, I've actually moved freight. I'm actually in the industry. I own a freight brokerage. So again, take this for what that's worth at the end of the day. Any load that you move from me and my company and any reputable broker that's out there, we know how many pallets are on the load. All right. We know what the commodity is. We know what the shipping hours are. We know what the receiving hours are. If they don't haul that freight, right? Or here's another keyword for you to look into. If they say that you're a work-in, right? And this is just for like drive-in and reefer. If they're like, oh, they'll get you worked in right when you get there, that's code for we failed on the load the day before. We don't have an appointment for you. They'll get you loaded. They just don't know when they're going to get you loaded. All right. So look out for that if you haul drive-in and reefer and it's going to be picking up at a food facility, because from my perspective, work-ins are a thing only if they tell you, hey, they're going to work you in right when you get there. I need you to check in with this individual. They will get you in a door. They're saving a door for you. That is vastly different than what it actually means when people say, we'll work you in. And that is just that. They failed on the load, and there's probably not a high likelihood that they're even going to get you loaded that day. So look out for those things. And again, I would press people, right? Like, how many times do you pick up there? How, have you delivered to this facility before? Have you picked up at this facility before? Stuff like that. Ask questions, because the right brokers are going to have answers for you. All right. If they're combative with you, I wouldn't want to haul that freight. I really wouldn't. And then, because we talked about accessorials last week and everything else. And I just think that that's a major issue. Somebody right before the show sent me a clip, and this is kind of on this part where a driver ended up getting loaded with like 43,000 pounds, I think it was, and it was tendered over. I forget what it was tendered over at, significantly less than that. It sounded like, I think it was like 30,000 pounds, or maybe it was 20,000 pounds. I can't remember on that, but the driver got loaded with 43,000 pounds. It's one of those situations that this is what drives carriers nuts in working with brokers, because I would all but guarantee that the carrier would haul the load at 43,000 pounds if they knew it was 43,000 pounds. I just don't understand about lying about load details. Who wins in that situation? You really think that you're going to screw a carrier over and get them to do it for a less rate, and then once they get in there and find out that it's going to be heavier, or the appointment time's not for when you told them it was, and stuff like that, they're just going to be okay with it? Like, brokers, you wonder why people fucking hate you. All right. You wonder why people don't trust you and don't want to work with you. It's shit like this, right? It's like, if the load weighs 43,000 pounds, tell them it weighs 43,000 pounds. If the load picks up at 11 o'clock at night, tell them the load picks up at 11 o'clock at night, not at 7 or 6 or 3 or whatever that looks like. Brokers, you're your own worst enemy in the overwhelming majority of these situations, at least the ones that I see that come out to social media. And now, again, I have been in this industry for a very long time. I've had all this shit happen on the other side. I'm aware, brokers, about how this industry is, but guess what? Yeah, nobody wins in that situation if I was to talk about that. When it comes down to properly vetting carriers from a broker's perspective, this is what I do. There's a lot of great software that is out there that helps that. Shout out to Broker Carriers. Broker Carrier. That's that's my company I'm a part of. All right. I got to give myself credit where credit's due. Damn it. But at the end of that, though, you guys, we go further than that. Not only do we verify all the carrier's identity, all of that stuff to make sure that they are who they say they are, we take it a step further, and we keep them working with you by our load notification ad that comes out there, where you keep those same carriers that have been hauling freight for you, let them know every single time you have that load with one click of a button, right? So you don't have to worry about this stuff, because at the end of the day, how do you reduce the risk of fraud? Work with the same carriers that you've already vetted and set up with your system and verify that they have active insurance. I don't know why you need to consistently go out to the load board from that perspective. But anyways, on that, again, questions are everything. I want to have an actual conversation with my drivers. Okay. I want to make sure that they are that they want to run these lanes. right? At the end of the day, because I move a lot of actual freight. I don't have pretend freight. I have real freight. And I want to work with that carrier who only hauls Texas to Georgia, for example. Those are the carriers that I want to move and have moving my freight that run from Texas to Georgia, right? I don't want to throw it out there on the spot market. And then details are everything, right? I'm asking you a lot of questions because I need to make sure you're the right fit for this load and that you are who you say you are. Because in most instances, a lot of the scammers out there are only concerned about getting the load. They don't really care about the money, right? They're like, what's it pay? What's it? Excuse me. They do care about the money. They're like, what's it pay? What's it pay? What's it pay? They're really pushy about that. Or here's another thing. You know, $2,000 hypothetical example is what this load you're trying to move it for. Everybody's at $2,500. This person's like, oh, I'll cut you a break. I'll do it for you for $1,800. This, yeah, like that doesn't exist. Don't fall into that trap. The majority of people, and then furthermore, stop posting the fucking commodity and the load posting. Why do you think your freight gets targeted? If you have high value shit, why are you fucking posting that commodity in there? Come on, you guys, we got to be smarter than this. They're looking for low-hanging fruit, and unfortunately, people continue to provide them low-hanging fruit. But again, if they're not willing to provide information, if they're not willing to provide driver information, if they say, I have 4 trucks in the area, perfect. I will take 4 driver names, 4 truck numbers, 4 trailer numbers, and 4 driver cell phone numbers, please. Hold standards, you guys, because the real trucking companies out there have never had any problem with this. All right. Generally speaking, it's the ones who don't. So you need to have actual conversations with them. Find out how many times a week that they run these lanes. Find out their why. Do they have a drop yard out there? Are they in that area often? Whatever that looks like. Like, again, ask questions, you guys. Instead of saying a picture delivers here, this is what it weighs, this is what it pays, move along from that. All right. Anyway, so that's what I would recommend in that situation. And I'm not passionate about that at all, if you couldn't tell. Let me see here. Anthony Jimenez, Cowboys let me down. No Texas talk. Yeah, man, I was so happy to see Green Bay actually show up and just fucking dominate that game. I love it. And Chandler says, I think we could eliminate double brokering if carriers could vet brokers better. I would say that has a lot to do with that one, man. And let me see here. Trey Lincoln, hey, did DAT do away with letting people using the load board overseas? If so, how do you feel about that? I don't know about that at all. I think that, I can't honestly answer that because I'm not sure. And I don't know how I would feel specifically if they did do that from an identity standpoint. I'm not sure, man. Let me think about that, and then I can maybe answer it again next week. I got to look into that before I would go out and say anything. Let me see here. Eric Ransom says, good morning. The weather is cold here in Georgia, but shipments are moving. Using the spot market to quote is a slippery slope. You can use green screens to quote up there, man. I use them for literally every single shipment that I move. They give the most accurate data out there. And then Chandler says, I think never mind. You sent that again, Chandler. And then Sonny Sharma, good morning, orange shirt gang. And he says, Chandler says, be careful when checking in for a different logistics company name that is not related to the broker's business name under rate confirmation. If it's real, it must be printed on the shipper BOL. Go to the broker's website too quick, right? Like go to the broker's website and make sure that the information matches up and stuff like that. And then go to the contact page as well and see if they have, if the domain matches the domain that they possibly gave you. I'm just trying to think on the fly here. Jackknife TV says, good morning, man. Still loving your content. Appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in. Sydney Thiessen says, thank you. Please do not post commodity on the load board. Love your passion. Thank you. And then Jackknife says, I doubt they have because as far as I know, the company I used to run with still has dispatchers in Cordova. Okay, that might have been in reference to the DAT comment. So let me see here. John Radvansky, good morning from Arlington. Cowboys did it again. I don't know how you guys didn't fire Mike McCarthy. It was oddly satisfying as a Packers fan to watch McCarthy do what McCarthy does in the playoffs, because that literally happened in Green Bay all the time. We had Aaron Rodgers. We made it to the NFC Championship game how many times, and we always fucking lost it with stuff like that. Oh, anyways, last one I got. So when I talked about a coaching scam last week, I got flooded, man. I got flooded. And I talked to a guy. He's going to remain anonymous, but dude got clipped for like $3,700 and nothing came through with it. You know, I'm not going to put the because he sent me the program that he supposedly signed up for. I'm not trying to get sued. Okay. And I know, so I'm not going to put any information out there on that, but you guys, and again, it's like research the people that you're spending money with. Okay. And then furthermore, hire an attorney. All right. This isn't legal advice, but I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're going to get into some of these agreements where they are offering to give you one-on-one coaching and they are offering to give you customers and all of this stuff, if they don't have a contract, and if they do have a contract, hire an attorney, spend a couple $100 and have them look over this stuff. Okay. Go to their website. If they don't have a website, and again, like this is a mistake that I made early on in business, but I ended up buying everything. If they don't have a website, that's a red flag. All right. And then especially if they're in today's day and age, if they are only taking your credit card payment over the phone and they don't have a digital way of processing that payment, that's a red flag. Okay. Like we got to look out for that stuff. We really do. Because, again, I like for all of my stuff like that I have, QuickBooks, it takes very little money to start a QuickBooks account. Hell, there is a company called Wave that I used to use. They are a free app that you can use to process payments and everything on. There is a fee to pay to process the payment itself, but it's a digital way to receive and accept payments and everything. So again, like there's a lot of things that came up, and you prepay for a bunch of stuff. And what happened with this specific example is it was supposed to be for a certain period, and it only happened like 1 or 2 calls, and then everything stopped, everything went away, and the guy got scammed. So I think that again, there are reputable coaching programs that are out there. If you're on the trucking company side of things, or you're looking for the dispatch side of things, go out there. Adam Wingfield, Innovative Logistics. That's the only individual you need to talk to on the trucking side of things. That if you're looking for a coach or a mentor, he has he's the best of the best that's out there. Okay. He has everything that you need, reputable, you name it. Go to somebody like that. Okay. I hate seeing some of the messages that I saw about the tens of thousands of dollars that some in total, that this is just like the people that I saw that got hosed on this stuff. And, just pay attention to that, because if there's not a contract, if it's take the credit card over the phone, they don't have a website, they can't process the payment digitally, there's not an actual contract of goods, of services, or anything that's out there that you can have an attorney review, just don't do it, please. I've heard a lot of this stuff over the years, and I'm sick of seeing people get hosed, right? Like this is another one of the main reasons why I do a Q&A show on Fridays, is because all of this stuff is for free. Like I'm very fortunate to have advertisers, but I would do this for free no matter what, because I don't want to see people get taken advantage of. So at the end of the day, you guys, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. There is no verified shipper list out there that you need to pay for. It's called Google. All right. I'm going to save you a lot of time and a lot of headache. If you want a verified shipper list, it's called Google. Search for plastic manufacturer, your town. Voila. There's your verified lead list. All right. I just don't want to see people get screwed over. So at the end of the day, that's what this entire community is all about, is helping people. And that's it. And yeah, mentors are free. And that is what this show will always be. And again, if you guys have any questions, that you want answered. And because I go live every single weekday, right? Like I designate Fridays specifically for it to answer questions that I get throughout the week. But if you have something during the week that comes up, drop it in the chat, you guys. I'll answer it to the best of my ability. And if I can't answer that question, I know a lot of people in this industry who will know the answer to that question, and I will have them answer it for you. And that is all that we're going to continue to do out there. But that will be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, we'll be back on Monday, you guys. And as always, if you guys got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, share it out there to your network. That's how we reach more people. And most importantly, that's how we help more people, is because if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.